Nollie, Seipati here, Chief Executive of Southern African Women in Leadership. Welcome to your interview, your Trailblazer interview. It is such an honor to have you, and congratulations from my side. So this is Dr. Andy Brough. He is from the Brough Leadership Institute, and he's my co-pilot for this interview. So once again, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you very much, Seipati. It is an honor and a privilege to have actually made it this far and actually been nominated with all these 31 phenomenal women. So I do appreciate it. And good evening, Andy, on your side too.
Hi, Nollie. It's great to finally meet you, although virtually, and looking forward to our chat.
Same here.
So, Nollie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Before I give over to my colleague Andy to do the interview. Who is Nollie and what earned her a seat at this table?
Okay, so Nollie Maoto, from a work perspective, I'm an executive head at F&B Connect to Customer. So I actually look after analytics, business intelligence, and planning and monitoring for F&B Connect to Customer. I'm also a sister, a daughter, a mother, and a wife to a 2.5-year-old son. And I think the reason why I've actually made it into the 32 finalists for the SAWIL Trailblazers Awards is my passion, particularly with regards to closing the gender pay and leadership gap when it actually comes to the data and technology industry in South Africa and in Africa as a whole.
Wow, that's beautiful. I totally agree with you on the gender-based, the gender equality gap closing and transformation passion, because I've seen your profile. I think you're one of the phenomenal women who are really driving it from inside out. So I appreciate you for that.
Thank you very much, Seipati. I appreciate it too.
Andy?
Nollie, thank you so much. I wanted to find out, how have you gone about creating the advocacy in terms of closing the gap that you referenced earlier? And you talk about gender and pay and leadership. So it sounds like it's almost a three-pronged approach, right?
Correct, Andy. So it's actually 4 in this case. So I will look at it from an organization, industry, society, and personal perspective. So from an organization perspective, where F&B is concerned, so we've actually started an analytics diversity forum. So we actually started that at the beginning of last month, funny enough. So that was actually before I was nominated for these awards. And our first meeting is actually this Friday. So the purpose of that diversity forum is the fact that the bank is an organization that actually has 32,000 employees. Out of those, 1,100 are actually in the data community, and only 24% are actually made up of females. So that already tells you there's actually a gap internally. So the purpose of that forum is to actually then drive that diversity and inclusion where the data community is concerned within the actual bank. So another thing I also do is from a mentorship perspective, where I actually mentor 10 females and 1 male, also internally in the gap where data and, the data community is actually concerned. And then looking from an industry perspective, so particularly with regards to this year, I've been involved in a lot of conferences and webinars where I was particularly addressing women in data and the issues with regards to women in data. And then last month, I actually got to be part of the Open Data Science Europe conference. It was a Europe conference, which was a virtual conference. So my topic for that conference was actually how to actually close the data gap, the gender gap in data science, and what we all can do about it. Particularly, it actually was addressing organizations and leadership in that perspective. And on the past, I think last week, Thursday or Friday, there's actually an international company that actually came across my speech, and they've actually asked me to record it because they actually will be showing it in 60 countries where they're actually based, because they're actually going on a transformation and also a gender equality journey, particularly in the data industry. So I think that was actually an honor for me to actually have been invited to actually do that. And then I also am a mentor of Mabuntle Circle. So this is an organization that's actually based in Botswana. The purpose of that organization is actually to empower women in technology by us being intentional with regards to closing the gender pay and leadership gap in technology. And then I'm also a non-executive director for 2 NGOs. One is Utlongati Disability Projects. I actually feel that disabled people in South Africa seem to be the forgotten people. So it's something I'm actually passionate about with regards to some of the projects that we do with them. And then the other one is Sizabantu projects. So Sizabantu Bonke projects, they actually look at mental health, drug abuse, and trying to create an HIV and AIDS-free society in South Africa, particularly for the underprivileged. And then personally, we've got what we call a power circle. It started in 2015. So it's actually a group of friends, mostly females. We all met when we were doing our MBA, but we do have 2 gentlemen that are part of our power circle. And the purpose of that is for us to actually come together from an empowerment, supporting one another, especially when it comes to our businesses and buying from each other, innovation, entrepreneurship, etc. So yeah. Those are the 4 things I'm mostly involved in.
I noticed that your MBA had a specialization in strategy and what you refer to as disruptive innovation. Just talk to us a little bit about that space, Nollie, and how's that looking in terms of where we are now globally? Disruptive innovation in banking.
Yeah, so I think with regards to when I did my MBA, and particularly looking at disruptive innovation in banking, my focus was on the 4 main banks in South Africa. So taking as an example what BESA did, well, from a Kenya perspective, and how it actually created such an innovative entrepreneurship product, which initially started out with actually farmers and the disadvantaged communities being able to actually withdraw money, etc. So when we look at where we are as, I think, the world and South Africa in general, yes, as much as we are part of the 4th Industrial Revolution, I do believe that the 5th one is actually around the corner. And looking at just the potential that we have as Africa when it actually comes to innovation and entrepreneurship and the type of things we could actually create to actually put us in the forefront, I do believe that there's actually a lot that we could actually do. So as an example, if we actually look at women, I do believe that women are able to actually address a lot of the issues that are women related. So because there's a lot of issues and gaps and concerns in society that only women could actually address. Another thing is if you actually take teams, I'll take like AI teams as an example. A lot of the AI teams do not have women in them. I think there's a stat that McKinsey did where it shows about, I think 15% of data teams in the world actually lack women in them. And that actually makes you wonder with regards to all the AI algorithms that we're actually creating and the biases those algorithms are actually going to create as a result of using historical data points that are then actually created by male-specific type of teams. So I do believe there's a lot that can be done. There's a lot of opportunities where it actually comes to innovation in Africa and in banking.
Final question, Nollie, what would you say to your younger self? So you're just leaving school, you're stepping into the wide world, you haven't yet studied. What advice would you give to a younger Nollie at this stage?
Okay, Stephen Hopkins hadn't studied. So I think what I would actually give as an advice is we don't get what we deserve. We actually get what we actually ask for. So we actually need to be intentional with regards to what we want, and we need to go out and actually get that. So whether you are hustling, you're grinding, working corporate, it makes no difference as long as you've got the end goal in mind, because people won't give things to you. You actually have to actually ask for them. So in saying that, for me, it doesn't matter where you are, but if you actually operate in your gift and in your purpose and you're intentional about it, wherever you actually sit or stand, where the table is concerned, it will actually shift towards you. So that is one thing I would actually say is just be open-minded and take risks, because I do believe, especially as girl children, that is something we are actually not taught to do in comparison to boy children. So as an example, like boy children will actually get Legos, dinosaurs, and science sets, whereas females or girl children will get like